And what we're going to look at here this afternoon is a series of images, stills that I've taken to show my collection, my little museum that I have set up in the house. And as we go along, I will explain what some of the tracks are and what some of the features of the shelf items are. These tracks that you see here were acquired by me along the Connecticut River shoreline on one of my kayaking trips. And this is a real nice growler track. We have two halves, the impression half down here and the relief half. And it's the slab is a gray micaceous sandstone that with very prominent ripple marks. So that's a very nice piece. Just another little different angle. We're going to see different angles of the shot that I've taken of the collection here. Some were taken yesterday, some were taken today. This is a fossil crinoid from one of those shallow seas in Morocco. And its name is Siphonocrinites. It's a bottom-dwelling actual live animal. And these particular type of crinoids, or I should say the crinoids, are alive today on the ocean depths. Here is a cast of, you all will probably recognize Archaeopteryx. This came to me in about 14 pieces from Dan Valone. Some of you will remember Dan, but I put it back together and display it proudly at some of our Jurassic Roadshows. Now here is a track that came from Gill, Massachusetts. We're going to see a better picture of this as we go along. This came from 3 miles from here at a private landowner's quarry, which at one time was the Edward Hitchcock quarry off of Route 2 in Gill, Massachusetts. And this is a large track, as you can see by the scale bar down there. It is attributed to one of the largest dinosaurs we had in our area, which is Dilophosaurus. And he's poking his nose out from up here. We'll get a better look at him a little bit later and a better look at that track. Now here's just an overview of the few tracks we're going to see today. We'll get into these on a more individual basis as we go along. Here are some shark teeth, and I'm drawing a blank. I'm sorry, we'll get back to that. These are from the Louisiana area. They're all purchased tracks, and they're quite large, as you can see. This one here is about 5 inches. And to measure the animal's length, I guess the rule of thumb is for every inch of the shark's tooth length, you can add 50 pounds, 500 pounds. So this particular shark was, in length. For every inch, you can actually add 10 feet in length. So this shark ends up being about 50 feet long, a little bit bigger than a school bus. Another overview, yet another. We'll move along here. This is my little bone cabinet. We'll take a look at that later. This is what you're going to see now is a mishmash of stuff that I have here in my museum, and it's all sorts of things put together. Totally drive my wife crazy with this for dusting. I dust. I tell her that I have a dust farm here, so the dusting actually isn't done very often, but it is done. Some other artifacts that are involved with my natural history display that I have here. Very large wasp's nest. Some of my library, I have an extensive library throughout the house. We have, I'm not a mineral collector, but I do have some minerals here and there just to embellish the bookcases and show off a little bit of the mineral content from around the world. Here we see a conglomeration of mud this is from the Connecticut River up in Vermont. It's a concretion. And below that, from Little Falls, New York, a black shale slab with some triarthros trilobites on it. Here's another offering, if you will, of a bunch of stuff that I have in an old wooden bowl here. Here is a large shark coprolite, another smaller trilobite, some Green River Formation fish, and other fossil specimens from around the globe. Part of my book collection here is, and this particular piece right here is a neat little find. I found a rock. Now, take a look at this rock and try to, in your mind's eye, get rid of the teeth and the eyeball. This rock was found down on Rock Dam during one of my fishing trips a few years back. I found it interesting and had the immediate thought that I could make a faux dinosaur skull out of this. So what I did is I kind of colored in the eye, put on a little nostril here, and made the teeth out of shaved and sharpened pistachio nut shells. So it's a conversation piece at best. Here's another corner of the museum with more of the books and other fossils and little tiny dinosaurs to display. And here's a part of you can see a good portion of my dust farm here. We'll give you another shot of this. This particular section of the bookcase, in this row here, this row here, and this row here, and a little bit down below is my Edward Hitchcock portion of the library. It's relatively extensive. I have a lot of information on Hitchcock. And if anybody needs any information pertaining to him, if they have some information they'd like, I'm willing to share this stuff. So if you have questions, contact me and we can get together and hopefully share that information. Here's another shot of it below. Here's a alligator skull, a crocodile skull, some native copper from Michigan, all sorts of stuff here. It looks messy, but it's organized mess in my eyes. Here's my little study area with the microscopes. I have my 90mm scope looking out the back window for animal life that's in our backyard. And every once in a while, we'll see a deer pass through or a fox and an occasional bear. Now here's a nice little piece here. This is red sandstone. This also came from Riverside and Gill, from the area of the Hitchcock quarry on the private property holding over there. And you can see this slab is relatively large. It has a nice growler print here, another one on this side, and there's a nodule type in the middle that we didn't uncover. We just left the topsoil on that so we could see what it looked like when it was buried up. This one over here to the left, a nice growler track. This came from when they were excavating Holyoke Community College. Some of my little tracks that are on the top of a little metal bookcase overlooking the backyard. We'll look at these two later on. Another corner with a T-Rex skeleton. And this is a woodpecker skeleton that I found in the woods. I was walking through the woods going to a fishing spot one day, and I found it was pretty well deteriorated. So I always carry a couple of plastic bags with me just in case. And I found this woodpecker skeleton. I took it home and macerated the rest of the flesh off it and cleaned it up, and it's hanging from my ceiling. And some other types of bony fossils here, are bony remains, a boar, some more of the little tinier plastic animals. This is a cast of a Ceratosaurus, the right side of its maxilla. This came out of the Midwest, and it's a nice conversation piece when we display our wares at the Jurassic Roadshows. The kids really love to see this and touch the teeth. Here's another mishmash of stuff. This is just above where I'm sitting right now at my computer desk. All sorts of things to look at here. Here I am paddling up the Connecticut River in my 14-foot Pungo. It's a wilderness systems boat. Real nice boat, easy to handle, easy to paddle. Some of the insects that I collect. This is a limited collection here. These primarily are purchased at the Rock and Mineral Show at Springfield every year. I like to pick up one or two to get them home and stick them in my collection. Here is a nice Hadrosaur egg. This was acquired by me from a collector in Leominster, Massachusetts. A few years back, he was selling out some of his fossils. He called me. I went down and made a few purchases, and this Hadrosaur egg was one of the finds. There's some amber here with insects in them. Some more hidden pieces. Some additional shark teeth up here. Some leaf preservations, more concretions from the Connecticut River area. Getting back to the footprints that were on the floor, we're going to look at some of those in more detail now. Here's a specimen from St. Clair, Pennsylvania. This is in black shale, and it's a preservation of, there's 3 or 4 different types of plants on this thing. This is from the Carboniferous era, and it's a real nice showpiece. And the thing is not hand colored. This is all done by Mother Nature. It's really, really nice. Here are a few more of these two here. This growliter and this growliter or Anchisoprus, I'm sorry, and growliter were up on the bookshelf we looked at earlier. Here is a Pachy Cephalosaurus from China, a small marine reptile. And this was part of that acquisition I got from that fella down in Leominster. Now this print here, tough to see in this image, but it's a growler track, and this came from the Cornell Nash quarry down in Granby, Mass. And one of the real neat things about this particular fossil is it shows the hallux or the thumb of this particular animal, which is very, very rare when you look at fossil tracks. And once again, this is the growler from the Holyoke Community College excavation. Other pieces, this is the very large mineral piece here. I believe it's, I'm once again drawing blank, but it's a very, very nice piece. Here is, this track came from my brother-in-law's backyard over in Turner's Falls. He lives up on Highland Avenue, which is actually the second terrace of the 3 main terraces that Turner's Falls is built on. And this is Growliter cuneatus. It's a real nice relief print. Next to it, we see that crinoid once again, or a portion of it. Here's another small growliter track here. Another overview. This particular offering is raindrops with what appears to be, it might be a tail drag, but I can't substantiate that. It might be a tail drag from a dinosaur, but I can't substantiate that. It most likely might be a mollusk trail, or it could even be what they call what's known as a tool mark. something that's made into these mud slabs that is not organic. We're back to the large Eubrontes tract. When I refer to these tracts as a Growliter or Eubrontes, these are the names of the tracts and not the animal. These are the genus that the animals are in, and their species fall under that particular name, such as Growliter or Eubrontes. And this could very well be the species Giganteus or possibly Giganteum of Eubrontes. And once again, this is the one that came from the quarry over in Gill, Mass. This came out of the ground about 4 years ago. It's a hefty track. It probably weighs about, in this condition, probably weighs about 60 pounds. When we discovered it, it was very, very large. It probably, the entire slab was probably 3 by 3.5 feet. Two of us struggled with it to get it to the saw to cut up. But it's one of the main attractions at the shows that we do. And here is kind of a faded picture of Dilophosaurus again. And that's what this track is attributed to the Dilophosaurus. One of the apex predators in our area.
Ed, excuse
Now,
me.
this particular piece here is a cast of Podocasaurus Holyokensis, which is the little chicken-sized dinosaur that Minion Talbot of Mount Holyoke College discovered back in 1906. When she found it, there were two, as I understand it, there were two casts made of the actual fossil. The fossil was burned in a fire at Mount Holyoke, and I believe it was 1909. And one of the casts resides at Mount Holyoke College today, and the other is at the New York Museum of Natural History. So I know Mark McMenamin from Mount Holyoke, the professor down there, and he was generous enough to turn me on to a guy who could make a cast of that particular fossilized dinosaur. And this is that particular cast. It's very, very nice. Some other small offerings. This was found along the roadside over in Gill, Mass. This came from an area in Turner's Falls. And I may not be able to, I want to get to this track here to show you folks what this is. I may have to back up a bit to show you that. Let me go in reverse here. Oh, let me get it from this angle. What this is it's a small growler track from the Gary Gollin site down in Holyoke, Mass. I was there when this track was excavated. We were cleaning up some slabs toward the end of our visit there. And the actual slab that this came from was about 4 by 4.5 feet. And we noticed two tracks. Dan Ballone was with us that day. He noticed a large Eubrontes track, and I happened to, with a broom in my hand, happened to sweep away some dirt and find the marks of what possibly could be a track. And we split it and opened it up, and we find a very nice impression of the growler, and the other half is the relief end of that particular track. I may have a better shot of that here. Let me back up if I may, because it's a real nice find.
Ed, once you find that,
I'm sorry?
Once you find that, we're going to need to wrap up soon, but we can hang on a little.
Okay, yeah. Okay, well, here's a better shot of it here. Let me get over there if I can. Maybe I can't. But this is a better shot of that particular track. And that's the tour of my little museum here and my collection. There's more to this collection downstairs, but I took out some of the ones that we primarily display at our Jurassic Roadshow events. I'd like to thank you, Sarah, for the opportunity this afternoon to show these once again. And to all the other participants in the webinar today. Well done, folks. You guys did a nice job. Thank you very much for being a part of all this.